Hi, it's Jo Painter here of confidencecoachingforwomen.co.uk. And we're already up to day 4 of the Reboot Your Career 5-day intensive. If you've missed the rest of the videos, don't worry, you can catch up. Just go to the link that I'll put below this video and you can join us too. So on day 4, the topic we're talking about is assertiveness, which is something that a lot of my clients struggle with. But the thing is with assertiveness, it's a skill. It's something that you can learn just like you learn to ride a bike. And if you've not had a role model in your life as you were growing up in childhood of what assertiveness is like, then you can struggle to actually speak up for your thoughts, your wants and your opinions. And that can be really difficult both at work and in your home life. So we're going to talk about helping you to achieve that today. So in the training I sent out to you and also on the post in the Facebook group, I talked about what assertiveness is. That it's having the courage and the confidence to speak up for your thoughts, wants and opinions. It's also being able to say no. And it's also about not overreacting into aggressiveness when you are angry or feeling an emotion strongly. So assertiveness is part of a scale, and the scale goes from passive to aggressive, assertiveness being in between. Now, if you're a passive type doormat personality, of which we all can be in certain situations, so for doormat Dawn, that type of person would react by saying yes and people pleasing. They wouldn't speak up for their wants and needs, and they'd feel like they were a victim, that they blame other people for things happening to them. At the other end, then we've got the aggressive Anna. An aggressive Anna would be obviously feeling superior, wanting to be in control, and her reactions can be quite aggressive in terms of verbally and physically. That sort of person is generally resented, but a lot of people are scared of her, so they don't speak up, and she may not even realise what she's doing. Now, the other group are people who are partly passive and partly aggressive. So the passive-aggressive type person, I'm going to call Manipulative Mary. Now, she will, to your face, be quite nice and go along with what you say, but behind it, she still has the need for control. And she'll do that by manipulating you, making you feel guilty, or with sighs and tuts, or doing something later on that makes you feel vulnerable. And of course, the last group is the assertive Amy. And she's different because she'll speak up in a positive way about her wants and needs. She'll be proactive. She'll say no if it's appropriate. And she's not really tied to the opinion and validation of others. So it's about her speaking up for her needs as well as respecting the other person. And that's the main thing about assertiveness. It maintains the relationship with the other person because you're not going in to be aggressive or to allow them to be aggressive to you. You're respecting both your needs and their needs as well. So to take an example, imagine you've had a really long day at work. You're exhausted, you come home and your husband's sitting watching the TV, your kids are both on devices, the kitchen is a mess and nobody's even thought about starting the evening meal. So what would your reaction be in that situation? Well, if you were a doormat Dawn, you'd just go in, get on with it, clear up, make the tea and not say a word. You might feel like you would be blaming them for being lazy or for not being considerate, but you get on and not say anything. So our aggressive Anna would be much more likely, obviously, to come in and shout, to explode with how dare you and you're so lazy, shouting about everything, but not really asking for any help. She may march out and refuse to make tea. And then we've got our passive-aggressive, manipulative Mary. Well, she would come in, again say very little and tidy up, but she would do it in a way that would be tension in the air. There'd be lots of huffing and tutting going on, and at a later date she would come out with something which would hit their vulnerabilities and their guilts. She may make the evening meal, but she may make it very late or something very quick that nobody wants to eat. So she's getting across her annoyance, but not in a direct way. So what would assertive Amy do? What would assertive Amy do? She'd come in and she'd tell people how she was feeling. So I've come home, I'm very tired, exhausted from work, and I'm disappointed that the kitchen is a mess and nobody started tea. I'd really appreciate it if you could come along and you two could help tidy up and you could help me cook the dinner. So it would be said in a polite, a compassionate but firm way. And she's offering suggestions. She's actually asking for help for her wants and needs. So she's speaking up, which is great. Now, that doesn't mean that they'll all leap up and help straight away. You don't always get the outcome that you want. But the important thing is that you're heard. You've heard yourself speaking up, and so have they. So that's what assertiveness is all about, and that's how you can use it in different situations. So I hope that makes it clear for you. So assertiveness is about speaking up for your wants and needs. But it's also about not letting other people determine what your opinions are. So if you're finding it very difficult to speak up, then what I suggest you do is, first of all, acknowledge the other person, what they've said or what they're doing, or the facts of the situation. Then go on to an I statement. So rather than saying, when you did this, you say, I feel, I believe, I need, I want. They're all I statements. And by not being aggressive, they aren't going into conflict and confrontation, but they're making it very clear exactly what it is that you would like and the way you feel. And then at the end, you can finish with, if it's appropriate, a suggestion, a compromise, or let's just talk about this. So those sorts of statements will make you feel like you're being heard, even if you don't get the outcome that you might want. And saying no is another part of assertiveness that can be quite difficult. How do you say no to something when you're disappointing somebody? Perhaps you've been through an interview process, a long drawn out process, and you're offered the job. But actually, as a result of the process you've been through and things have changed in your work, you've got to say no. How do you do that? Do you just send a quick email? Or are you assertive enough to value the other person and speak up and say, I really appreciate your offer of the job, and it was the job that I was looking forward to doing. Now my circumstances have changed and I feel that it wouldn't be right for me to accept. I hope you can understand. So again, you're acknowledging the fact that they've offered you the job. You're being assertive in saying how you feel and why you don't want it. And that is the assertive way to deal with a no statement. You don't have to use the actually words no. You just have to be firm and be sure that you are getting your point across whilst respecting the other person. So that's a bit about assertiveness. There is so much I could tell you. I could go on all afternoon about assertiveness because it's such a key thing for people. But I suggest you start off by practicing just getting your voice heard. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't be attached to it. Just practice speaking up and avoid apologizing too much. Avoid putting something at the front of your assertive statement, such as, would you mind if, or I just thought that, or I don't want to upset you, but. All of those things make your statement much less assertive. So try to avoid those. And finally, the biggest thing that people tell me is they feel guilty afterwards. They feel guilty for turning somebody down, for saying no. They feel guilty for speaking up and not just agreeing with what the other person said. But the point is, if you've respected yourself and you've respected the other person, then in no way should you feel guilty. Because that's exactly what life is about, respecting ourselves and respecting others. I hope you found this helpful, and if you'd like to learn more about assertiveness, please do get in contact. You can book a free call with me at www.speakwithjo.com. That's www.speakwithjo.com, or you can private message me. And if you'd really like to be in the rest of the 5-day intensive, I'll put the link at the bottom of this video. And I look forward to speaking with you or engaging with you on Facebook or LinkedIn. Thanks for listening. This is Jo Painter of confidencecoachingforwomen.co.uk.